I want to talk to you today a little bit about how we are leveraging innovation and entrepreneurship to address the challenges of 21st century education, and very importantly, how we're using it to democratize access to opportunity for all of our students, staff, and our organizations in South Australia. Firstly, I'd like to thank Business World for having me here. It's a great honor. I'd like to acknowledge all of the esteemed speakers and guests that have gone before me and will speak after me, and I'd like to thank you in advance for taking the time to listen to me. I'd also like to say that before I start speaking, I'm only speaking from my perspective, from what I know from my experience in Europe and in Australia. This may be more or less relevant to your own individual or institutional context. I don't claim to speak for all of you. So we're living through a revolution, and I'm going to go through the first piece of my talk very quickly because many of the speakers have already addressed this. So as you can see from that video, disruption is our new normal, and we have to work to ensure that we are preparing ourselves, our students and our organizations to live through that disruption and ensure that we leave the world a fairer and an equitable place. One of the ways in which this disruption has begun to affect our students particularly is when it comes to employment. That path from education to employment is now broken for us in Australia. Generation Y is the most educated generation in history. It is also the most underemployed. Over 650,000 young Australians are either unemployed or underemployed. These are graduates. On the other hand, we're looking at a world where our organizations are saying they can't get the skills they need and are speaking to us about skills shortages. And up here on this chart, you'll see that India is actually ranked number 2, where over 60% of your organizations with 10 or more employees are saying they cannot get the graduates that they need. How can this be? Well, it can be because the future of work and jobs is changing. It's changing dramatically. 70% of young Australian students at the moment are in jobs that are going to be immediately affected by automation. 60% of our students are being trained in jobs that will be radically altered or will disappear because of automation. There is no longer a job for life. We are teaching our students how they're going to have to navigate 17 jobs over possibly 5 careers in their lifetime. The skills we need to teach ourselves, not to mind our students, to adapt and thrive in this 21st century world of work are enterprise skills. The World Economic Forum has listed 10 skills that are critical by 2020. These are skills like creative thinking, creative problem solving, emotional intelligence, cognitive flexibility, negotiation, communication. There is no technical discipline on there. We talk about the T-shaped students. Yes, we must have technical excellence, but we must also have transversal or transferable skills, these enterprise skills. And demand for these skills in Australia is growing exponentially. We're looking at a 260% increase in demand for some of these particular skills. And employers are paying up to $8,000 more for students who can prove that they have these skills. So regardless of discipline, we have to live, think, work, and learn horizontally. Enterprise skills are critical. They are the new literacies of the 21st century. Given this, it's no wonder that our legacy models of education are no longer fit for purpose. It is no wonder that the value of university education is being questioned and eroded. And in fact, our industry is facing the threat of significant disruption. This chart, produced by Navitas, is Education 3.0, $50 billion invested in 15,000 companies whose sole aim is to disrupt traditional education models. So I would say to you, that from my perspective, education as usual is just not an option. And that's the stance that we took at Flinders. So I'll talk to you a little bit about what we are trying to do to address this. Well, first of all, we sat back and we decided we needed a new agenda for the 21st century, and that agenda must be about making a difference. We want to disrupt and innovate contemporary education, but we also want to be the source of Australia's most enterprising graduates. We have set ourselves a target that by 2025, every single student in Flinders, about 27,000 students, will have access to innovation and enterprise topics, regardless of what they're studying. We have put collaboration, innovation, and entrepreneurship at the heart of the university. Every academic is now incentivized to ensure that innovation and enterprise topics are part of their curriculum. We've made a massive investment in a new innovation precinct, where we want to be the epitome of the triple helix model, where we have co-located ourselves with industry and with government and indeed with community in an old manufacturing precinct. This used to be the old Mitsubishi manufacturing plant. We've lost all our traditional industry in South Australia, but we're rising from those ashes. And today, these new industries, these knowledge-based industries, SMEs, startups, automation, advanced manufacturing, and our university have now provided the same number of employees as when they shut down those factories 10 years ago. We're extremely proud of that. And that has been driven by innovation and entrepreneurship. But we started small. We started with one person, Matt Salier, our director, and his pot plant in a really, really dark and dingy room. And we started with an accelerator program. We started with some small level student consulting and with some sessions that we called Entrepreneurs in Conversation. We built from the grassroots up. 4 years on, we're very pleased to have created significant impact, 274 startups and growing. We have trained close on 3,000 students and small and medium enterprises in innovation and entrepreneurship skills. We're also very pleased to announce that we've just won the University Business Incubator Global Challenger Award for the Asia Pacific region. But that's not enough, okay? Because now we have to keep growing. We have to scale that impact further. And what that means is we have to reach every single student. And startups are great, but they can be a little bit exclusive if you're learning to be a teacher, or if you want to be a nurse or a social worker. They come to me every day and say, Margaret, what does entrepreneurship really have to do with me? Okay, so we sat back and we thought about what are we going to do? And we decided that we were going to shift focus. And we were going to take that experiential knowledge that we have from our accelerator program and turn it into an education and an innovation capability building program. This program, which we call INNO, immerses our students in an innovation and entrepreneurship journey. And that's where the word practice in my title is really important, because I'm a practitioner. I'm on my 4th career. My first was as a strategy consultant. I specialized in corporate growth and mergers and acquisitions. My second was as an entrepreneur in a small design and manufacturing business. My third was as a corporate innovation manager. And now I'm bringing all of that together to deliver innovative, novel, practice-led, skills-oriented programs for students, for staff, and for our industries in South Australia. As a starting point, we didn't think about the topics. We didn't think about the content. We thought about the outcomes. What are the competencies that we want these students to have by the time they have undertaken these topics? And so we mapped them. We mapped them against the World Economic Forum, but we also did a lot of research with industry and asked them what they wanted. And so we now have our 6 competencies. So creative thinking, commercial judgment, personal enterprise, collaboration and community building, adaptability and leadership, and digital and data literacy. Every single one of those is embedded into our topics. That's what we use to build rubrics and assessments. There are no exams, it's all project-based. So they're fundamental. And we track that using Roadmap, which is a dashboard, so that every student has a personalized journey through those competencies. And anybody, I'm happy to give more detail around specific topics, etc. We just don't have time right now. So, progress so far. Well, we collaborate with Fox School of Business from Temple University in the US, and they're number 8 and number 9 in entrepreneurial studies. We work with them to convert the academic approach to innovation and entrepreneurship into a practice-led one. We have the 21st century competencies I mentioned, which underpin our whole program. We have 12 undergraduate topics, which can be taken as cores, majors, electives, optionals. We're just launching this year graduate programs, a graduate certificate, a graduate diploma, and next year a master's. We're moving some of our program online, which is a massive challenge as it's highly immersive and highly experiential. We're starting to look at technologies like serious gaming. How can we use serious gaming to deliver a highly experiential innovation journey remotely? We started last year with 211 students in our first rollout. This year we're at 524 and still growing. And my mandate is to be able to deliver this to 5,700 commencing students by 2025. It's just a small objective from my Vice-Chancellor. This is our undergraduate program. Again, happy to speak you through, but we take students through the journey of how do you discover an opportunity? How do you turn that into value? How do you build a business model around it to deliver it into a marketplace? And whether that's a startup or into an existing organization doesn't matter. And how do you do that over and over again and scale for growth? We have different journeys for our students regardless. This is Sadhna, who's studying medicine. As she goes through her undergraduate degree, she adds these topics into first, second, third, and fourth year. This is Rahul. He's studying engineering. He can do the same. We have variants for our STEM topics. This is Avantika, who might be studying business. I think I've probably got it the wrong way around, but that's okay. You get the message. Postgraduate. Again, we take it to the next level, much more strategic. They focus a lot on things like corporate strategy, innovation strategy. And if we could have this is also showcasing how we're pushing the boundaries of education. We are under pressure to deliver outcomes in much, much shorter timeframes. This is a graduate certificate program that can be delivered in 6 weeks. Just before I finish, I'd just like to say that that's our graduate program. We also deliver a professional cert, and we're very happy that we're offering a scholarship to India's most innovative student to come and do that with us. And that complements a much larger scholarship that we're also launching for India's most innovative student. And Sadhna here and Avantika at our stall back there are happy to talk to any of you who want to know more about that. I don't want to encroach on the next speaker's time. I'd just finally like to say that we have huge ambitions. We really want to democratize innovation. We believe that it is a platform for every student to do 3 things: think big, make an impact, and design their own future. And we would hope that any of you who want to learn more about what we're doing, where we can learn from you, and spread this message and get these skills embedded into all of our students, we're happy to speak with you throughout the rest of the afternoon. So thank you for your attention.